Happy Friday, Miami. This is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, a real estate podcast by locals about what's going on in the Miami condo market. I'm Peter Zalewski. I'm a condo consultant, expert witness, and founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. And I'm joined here by my co-host and the moderator of our discussion, no one else but Daniel Hernandez. He's a real estate advisor over at Compass Real Estate in Coconut Grove. He does single-family houses as well as condos. And he's got a little surprise for us because he is on location for this week's Buy, Sell, Hold Miami. Daniel, how's it going? Tell us all about it.
It's really late here. It's very, very late here. But you know what? We do this live every Friday, Eastern Standard Time, just for you all, because we know you're loyal listeners and we don't want to let you down. Sometimes we have to pre-record, but we didn't want to do that today. And it's because there's so much timely news happening in South Florida real estate, and we feel like we owe it to our fans. Episode number 36. We're at the end of January. It's the 24th. So we owe it to you to do this live, right? And if you're just joining us for the first time, everybody, this is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, South Florida real estate talk show. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, right under Peter there, you're going to see 5 topics. And Peter and I toss these stories around every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're getting a little close to the live show. And so we got to settle on these 5 topics. And we're going to talk about them for about 7-10 minutes each. We got you for an hour. And at the end of each topic, we're either going to buy, we're going to sell, or we're going to hold because, we don't know. We're adults and we can agree, we can disagree. And that's effectively the format of the show. And so with that, and because it's late, and I'm sleepy. I'm kidding. I had plenty of cold brew, Peter, so I'm ready to go. But I want to jump into it because our boy Ken Billions is in the news again because apparently there was some miscommunication or somebody misreported something. But either he is doing a deal with Moy Shimada in Wynwood, or maybe it had nothing to do with Moy Shimada, but he did a deal in Wynwood. What's going on?
All right. So let me set the scene. So there's this guy called Moishi Mana. He made his money in the fruit business. He used to sell fruit out of the back of his car. He was able to rise up, and he became a dominant force probably in the Miami area. I'd say, 15 years ago or so. And what he did is he was able to acquire basically in 2 locations. One was in this Wynwood area, which at the time when he started buying was basically a shithole. It was a no-go place. It was effectively where the chop shops were for cars. You drive around there at night back in the day. You saw guys working on cars. There was nobody around you. It was a little sketchy. And the other place where he went all in is Flagler Street in Greater Downtown Miami. And if you remember, a few weeks back, we were talking about Flagler Street, this renovation that was underway because he owned all these office buildings. And it was still under construction. All these years later to go about 5 entire blocks. And the reason we discussed it back then, Daniel, is that Moishi Mana went on a podcast with the South Florida Business Journal and spoke with Brian Bandel and was bitching and moaning about how long permitting was taking and how long the Flagler Street renovation was going on. So fast forward to where we are, and Mr. Billions, who's Ken Griffin, the guy who from Citadel, the one who's supposed to put up an office tower, talked about it over and over and over, still hasn't done it. Supposedly Ken Billions is taking a shot at Moishi Mana's dirt. So the question is this a capital call? Is Moishi Mana running out of cash? And as a result of that, he's got to dump off his Wynwood holdings in order to shore up what's going on in Flagler Street, which thus far has been, I would say, a disaster because he's got nobody in any of these spaces. And he owns most of the buildings on Flagler between Biscayne Boulevard going all the way to the Miami River.
So you're saying that there is some justification for these rumors. Am I hearing that
if
correct?
you listen to the podcast with Brian Badell, Moishi Mana was complaining, saying the city's jamming him up. He wants to do all this type of stuff. This 5-block renovation, which started off somewhere in the ballpark of $16 million and then skyrocketed north of $30 million for 5 blocks.
They've opened 2 blocks though.
Well, of course. So I guess they're 40% done. Daniel, that's all they're doing is they're putting down cobblestone on the street. They're making the curbs flush. You know how when you walk on the street into the curb, you step up? They're making it flush, and they're putting up some barriers.
These days in urban planning.
Yeah, so they can do like a farmer's market, or they can do an event, and they can put in poles and stop anybody from trying to drive down and mow down people. It's part of an anti-terrorism type of situation. They're not doing a lot, and Moishi's been sitting there, and he's put in all this cash. He's going forward with all these different situations because remember, his goal was to create a technology and a design in terms of fashion design hub here in Miami, so it could be the gateway of Latin America for tech, as well as the design, the fashion design. Problem is, we are now anti-trade. We are now tariff to the hilt. And I'm not necessarily sure if people from abroad are necessarily welcome here, given the fact we got a place called Alligator Alcatraz, which is a pop-up detention center. So these are the issues Moishi's up against. I don't know why Ken Billion suddenly would want to buy land in Wynwood. The only thing I can think of is all the deals he's bought thus far have pretty much been.
Well, he's hedging Brickell, right?
Yeah, well, you figure if you blend it, eventually you're going to get a winner because all the other ones have been dogs for the most part.
Well, I mean, if he wants to become an office slumlord here in Miami, he's going to put his $2.5 billion Class A super duper office tower right there on the water. Then you gotta build the slum. Not to say that it's a nice building. And I don't want to get confused with anybody. The rumor is that he's buying that Moishe Mana Convention Center where everybody's gone to a concert there over the last 15 years.
Hold on. More than not a rumor. This is reported by The Real Deal. So Mr. Mana and Mr. Billions, if you guys got a problem, call up The Real Deal.
The Real Deal reported it? I thought it was World Red Eye and they misspoke about it.
No, Real Deal's got a piece. It came out. The headline is Ken Griffin, who we call Ken Billions. One of us made a mistake early on. We called him Ken Billions instead of Ken Griffin. Now we call him Ken Billions or KB. So the headline is Ken Griffin, Mana, which is Moishe Mana, the guys who used to sell fruit. They deny talks of a $700 million Mana Wynwood sale. The subhead is social media posts reported Griffin planned a college-style campus on the site. And for anybody who's keeping track at home, the site that Moishe Mana bought was actually a free trade zone owned by Miami-Dade County that, guess what? It went tits up, as they say in Tampa.
Wait,
it was a failure. They had to dump it, and ultimately Moishe took it down at a song.
Well, I love a good conspiracy theory, and I mean, maybe he's taking a page out of Steve Ross's book. Look, anybody who's been watching our show for the last year or so, Steve Ross pretty much completely divested out of Miami-Dade. He thinks Palm Beach is the future of the United States of America, the Silicon Valley. Oh, right.
The Wall Street South.
The Wall Street of the South.
Wall Street South.
So he's got supposedly Vanderbilt, the Ivy League of the South, college university up in Nashville, Tennessee, is building a big $500 million campus in Palm Beach. And we keep on talking about education. KB's donated $50 million to that charter school program that woman Moskowitz is bringing down from New York. So there is recognition that education is a really big deal here. Maybe he's been watching the show and he's heard us yapping about it. So I think there is a justification for something like that, but they're denying it. Why? If it's true, if it's not true, they're denying it, then of course I understand it. But if you cross the street, there is that Class A office space that he did in fact buy with Goldman, right? He spent about $180 million reportedly on it, and it's the only nice looking office building in Wynwood. I think it's off of like Fifth Avenue, right?
Oh, that one you got me on. I don't know about that one. The only office building I can think of is
he bought this, and this is. There's some legitimate companies in there. PricewaterhouseCoopers has some office space in there. All the, I guess the legitimate, if I can say that, crypto companies are in there. Yeah. But he's in Wynwood officially. I just don't know if it's with Mana.
All right. So listen, old man Griffin is denying these rumors that he's potentially buying.
Wait,
it,
we're
which
calling
is fair.
Old Man
Sure
Griffin
enough.
now? You have to earn the old man title.
He's been here 10 years. He's got to be old man by now. And he's invested a lot. But maybe he's gun shy. Remember, he bought in the Faina house, paid $60 million, and ultimately sold for about $46 million, according to press reports. So he took a haircut there. He then went ahead. He bought this site for the office tower, which he was supposed to break ground on many times. He came out and said Q3 of 2025, he would break ground. I came out and said, no way, not happening. And I was right. And now he says he might build it by the end of next year. So that one went sideways. Then he took down the Adrian Arsh site, which is on Brickell Avenue, the extension right by where Sylvester Stallone used to be, and as well as where the Vizcaya Museum is. He wanted to pick up this famous house that was owned at one point by a gentleman who was a political heavyweight back in the early 20th century. He hasn't been able to do that. And Who knows? Maybe he's gun shy. Everything he announces, it all craps out. And then guys like you, Daniel, you come out and you bitch and moan about him. You need to be nicer to Ken Billions.
I'm very nice to Ken Billings. I got a chip on my shoulder that he still hasn't taken us out to lunch. What do you want me to say? And then there's the other side that is, does Moy Shimano want to sell? Does he need to sell?
Well, if you remember Moishi from that podcast, again, South Florida Business Journal, I'd recommend everybody check it out. It's a little dry, but if you soldier on through it, you'll hear
Funny,
something
though.
interesting. Yeah. No. Moishi Mana, I would love to go out drinking with him. I mean, let me tell you, he would tell some stories. But what was interesting about that podcast, if memory served me correct, he was talking about legacy. He's north of, let's just say he's he's getting to the age where he's worried about legacy. And what he wanted to do is he wanted to create a community just like he did, I think, up in New Jersey. And he wanted to contribute back to Miami. So who knows? Maybe this is a situation where he's like, you know what? I can't be splitting my time. Let me go all in on one. And because I'm so deep down the line in Flagler, and if I go to sell Flagler, I'm probably gonna get my ass handed to me because it doesn't have the same value because Flagler Street's not yet complete. So let me sell the asset I can sell so I can focus my time and maybe get a cash bump in order to go forward. Remember, people want cash. Swire Properties, they're dumping everything so they can supposedly put up their Mandarin Oriental condo tower, which let's see if they do it. They don't. But people basically are searching for cash right now. And maybe that's it. I'm purely speculating, but this is based on the article that came out in the Miami Real Deal.
Buy, sell, hold. Ken Billies denies rumors in Wynwood.
I'm a buy that he'll probably go forward and do it because he's the only one who can. And I'm a sell that he's that the deal's in place, if that makes sense. I think Ken's probably doing it. I think if there's smoke, there's probably going to be fire.
You think he's denying it just to deny it?
Well, again, I mean, dude, everything he announces, because it doesn't play out at some point. If three's a trend, and I'd say right now he's pretty much, you got to take him with a grain of salt in terms of what he's talking about. And then you got guys like us coming out and complaining about it, about, if you're going to do it.
I want to be clear. I'm not complaining. I'm just reading the news here, man. I don't really have an opinion about it at this point. I'm confused.
I'm being sarcastic. It's me. I'm the one complaining about it. I'm the one that has no problem saying that because his real estate people are bad. This might actually be a good deal that they're able to step into because Moishi Mana was able to figure it out early on, and he did very well.
I mean, Moishe would make a killing with that site. I think Moishe should sell it and let somebody take the reins on it. Because I mean, come on, that convention center complex. I don't know what the cash flow, what that business model looks like. But hey, that's for another day. I'm holding. I just want to see. I gotta wait what happens.
Daniel, why don't we extend an open invitation? I don't want to speak out of turn, but why don't we extend an open invitation to Moishi Mana? Come on the podcast. Let's talk about what's going on. Maybe we dedicate an entire episode to his plans, his visions, and what the hell happened on Flagler Street, because that thing is a disaster.
I can second that. Moishe, if you're listening, come on the show. Give us a call. We're available every Friday. The extra year nobody asked for. This is about, I cannot believe we're talking about this again. So, even years, odd years, even years. We have awful. I can't stress it enough, voter turnout here in our municipal elections. Although I got to give us credit where credit was due. In the city of Miami, the most recent municipal elections for commission, mayor, we had a 21, I think it's 21.67, because I've said it so many times, percent voter turnout, which is significantly more than we've had in the last decade or so. In the last decade, every commission, every municipal election city of Miami's had, we've been lucky to get a 14, 15, 16% voter turnout. And so this 20-ish% voter turnout is huge. Whether you're happy with the results or unhappy with the results, I think the most important result was, in fact, the voter turnout. And I talk about this because one of the things that is on the ballots coming up, and they want referendums for it, and there's the Stronger Miami Political Action Committee, is to move election years, odd years, where there's traditionally lower voter turnout, to even years with general elections, when you vote for president and congressman, yada yada, where more people would turn out. So the pros of this is more turnout and more representation and democracy. And then the people who argue against this say, well, how can we possibly compete with these people who are raising millions of dollars and when we're getting what was the vocabulary they used? They said we're getting like washed out, right? Where the underdog can't compete. I get that, but dude, you got social media. You can figure it out. Compete, right? It's the new grassroots organization. You can compete. In any case, the point of contention now in the city of Miami, and this has to do with our good old boy Damian Pardo over there in Coconut Grove, is yes, he wants to move it to even years, but either you get a fifth extra year or you're shortening your term to 3 years. He wants to lengthen his term to 5 years, whereas Eileen Higgins, who campaigned on the promise to, hey, if we move to even years, I'm gonna take a 3-year term, which is the right thing to do. We've seen this movie not once. We've seen this movie not twice. This is the third time in the last year or so where they've attempted to do this. Like, what's with the broken record?
Well, it's a situation where if you are that popular and if you're, everything you've ran on your campaign approach, it actually is resonating with the citizens, you shouldn't have a problem. Put it out there. Go ahead, test it. This is about competition. We're talking about capitalism system and competition, and let the best message be the one that's ultimately chosen. I don't understand why he'd be hesitant about it. From everything I've heard, he's done a pretty good job. I mean, this is a different commission than it was just a few years ago. It's not as exciting. We don't have these situations where you have guys dressed up in chicken outfits with mariachis in the background anymore when somebody was giving a speech. That unfortunately might have gone by the wayside. However, we're moving forward, and yeah. And Ken Russell, they did it to Ken Russell and some of the other ones. But I would appeal to Commissioner Pardo. Commissioner Pardo, listen, you have a message. Stand firm, stand on it, and go forward and make it 3 years. Let's get this thing doing right. Remember, public service is not necessarily a full-time job. It's not a job for life. This is an opportunity to go in there, make your changes. You don't have to stick around too long. Remember, it's always better to leave a party too early than too late. Do not get this idea that you're going to be stuck there in a cornerstone of the Miami Commission for the next 20, 30 years. So I say shorten it, go forward, put your message out there, and let's see what the public has to say about it, the voters who actually do show up.